interested in colliding as often as possible.
No, I certainly agree. And I mean, I think Bang did a great job at just kind of setting up the story for itself, right? It was NGR always close in those clutch moments, but always falling short. But who was it on that final round, the 15th round, who got the clutch for his team? It was NGR. So he became the hero that failed so many times over and over again. But then when his team needed him the most, he actually clutched it out. Oregon, I was curious to see if any of the shield operators on attack was going to get banned out, but neither team is going to go down that path, despite both teams playing both the Monty and the Blitz as well. It's going to be that same, the Flores, the Ying, the Asami. Seems to be stable bans here. Both teams, they want a quote-unquote normal game. I think if you're Wildcard, that's smart. You know, you got a sub-player in Bolo. Keep things as similar as the usual for the 4 primary players. Slot Bolo in. It's just Oregon, you know? You play this map in ranked, you played in scrims, you played in Pro League in the past, you know what it's all about. It's all about those fundamentals, the basics, the very simple 1, 2, 3s, ABCs of Rainbow Six Siege. So this is kind of where I want to see Bolo as quote-unquote full potential as a sub-player. Because this should be a relatively easy map to kind of just, you know, juggle the team in.
Very first defense will be downstairs as DarkZero starts on the favorable side, I guess you could say. Operator band's looking an awful lot like last game. Mira will not be available. I think it's like almost a bit of mutually assured destruction with the fact that neither of these teams are banning the shield operators. You think that the Flores Ying ban, which is exactly what we saw on Bank and now we see again on Oregon, is just the way that the maps play, or?
I think it's about the keeping things the same, you know. I mean, if anything, DarkZero would be the team to ban out one of those shield operators, but they didn't. I mean, they just like the Flores ban. I mean, on Bang, it's a little bit puzzling. On Oregon, makes a ton of sense, right? On almost every single bomb site of Flores is a very playable operator, but I'm kind of scared of Spirits. If you want to, you know, go on the Blitz, go on the Monty. Oregon is an excellent map to bring those kinds of operators on the attacking side. Either way, it's gonna play out in the scenario of Bang, so both teams can be comfortable knowing that at least. And when you're in the best of 3, the first map is often gonna be kind of feeling out your opponent. How are they feeling? How are they doing? What's their playstyle going to be like? What are we expecting from them? Okay, they're showing something else that we didn't prep for. Fair enough. Now map number 2. You apply what you've learned in the first map. We'll see which team can do it better. Wildcard, we say they're quick in the attack, but Pambasu, who's quiet in the first half on Bank, but start things off taking down nobody other than Adam, who also had Diffuser, and it's the Thatcher outside the building. The Thatcher isn't really a valuable operator right now. There's no kite claws, and there's no really important utility where Thatcher would make a huge difference. But it is Wildcard starting their own map and man down.
Reloading!
We have seen teams be very competitive on map 1 and then ultimately fall off on map 2 in best of 3s before, but so far through most of these stage 2 playoffs, Nick, we have not seen anything outside of the ordinary when it comes to, you know, teams winning their own maps. We expect teams to win their own maps, and then no matter what happens on the second map, it's usually quite competitive. I expect the same here. Or DarkZero. Do I expect DarkZero to win? No, not necessarily, I don't. I think that Wildcard will probably win this, and then we go to Cafe to send this away. But I think it really does depend on how Wildcard go about this. You know, they've got Bolo on the squad. Obviously, absent Merc, they're going to do well enough on their own map. There might be a lot of discomfort here for them on Oregon. You know, Wildcard will not have a particularly large map pool. They're a younger, newer team, and especially lacking one of the, you know, core players on your team, if not the backbone in a lot of times. Merc, maybe Spirits would be the backbone, I suppose, but call it for Merc as well.
Yeah.
Adding Bolo in. Bolo knows this map really well. That's not the problem. It's about knowing how his team goes against it. I cannot believe that. Speaking of Bolo, he has fed a hearty round of buckshot on the back tower stairs. Ambazu loves that super shorty. That's his 3rd super shorty kill so far in this matchup.
That's incredible. I mean, I don't even know how that happens, to be honest with you. Good night, Bolo. But the thing about Merc, he's the initiator usually, right? The ones who lead into the building and just start things off hot, and Wildcard to play around him. No one's here to take that spot right now. They get the 4th kill on for the super shorty for Pambasu. Ridiculous right now.
Finally, pays for his crimes. Surf still in this spot. Spirit's nearsighted as his approach is towards blue, with Surf not too far away. That's Diffuser. They're going to run headfirst into NJR if they continue to push towards elbow. They think he's behind the deployable shield. He's not. He's tucked away quite safely. One man on DZ. There's 3 more. Canadian completely standing sentinel. Now the Diffuser goes down. Spirits will watch. NJR could sweep through the back. Rice compelled into action, and DZ pick up 2 kills before that Diffuser can go down. On their own map, they take round number 1.
That's going to be the hardest attack, though. That basement bomb side, it's so hard to break apart because there's no easy ways to gain any sort of advantage. And the one way that, you know, Wildcard, they tried to, well, they found Pambasu, or rather, he found them. The shotgun buff, you know, we talk about usually the shotgun, the Amaru, the Echo, you know, the silencer on it, you know, you just destroy people across the map. No one's really talking about the secondary sidearm from Lesion, and that's also a Lesion buff on top of it, right? Shotguns got buffed, sure enough, but then Lesion also got the super shorty added to his kit, and we haven't really seen people do this kind of performance that Pambus is putting up right now, where you're using the shotgun as a primary weapon, kind of like when you're playing Mute or Smoke. Whenever you're in a close combat situation, use the secondary shotgun. It does a ton of damage now, apparently. Doing wonders for Pamba, at least. But that's gonna be the hardest attack. Now it's up to upstairs instead. Kid Storms and DarkZero, they will play in a quote-unquote similar fashion. They have deployable shield, ADS is there. Try and fortify that trophy portion of the map. Pamasu and Zonas can roam around. Canadian on the pulse, plenty of intel. Wildcard, they bring a similar lineup. The Thatch being brought from Spirit this time, not Adam, as he'll find himself in the Maverick instead to guarantee that walls will get opened up. And typically when we see 2 Heartbreachers, so here Maverick and Hibana, it kind of indicates a split take on that upstairs hold. So we'll send like 2 guys inside a big tower to take Attic, and 3 guys in the master bedroom side to deal with like, you know, master bedroom, armory, etc. And try and go for a good old split situation. There's an upside to it. You're pressuring the defense from multiple angles. That's always a good thing. The downside is you're spread a little bit more thin. More flanks are open, more ways you can die, not as many people working together. And this first obstacle, the ADSs with the shield can be hard to clear, but one single EMP, okay, let's try the third. The third EMP will clear out the ADSs, there we go, and the shield goes with it. Should have been 1 EMP, you know, inside master, the AoE effect, it gets the ADSs, then you destroy it. But the ADS, or sorry, the EMP got caught by the ADSs both times. It got the job done.
Canadian on this pulse roll, he is very well familiarized with those lurk/info operators. He was playing soulless for, I think, almost every single round on Bank. Adding Rice to the roster meant that Canadian did not have to play Hard Breach as extensively as before. Rice obviously coming in, playing more of that support role, whereas Achieved, who Rice replaced, was playing that sledge role that he's so well known for. It means that sometimes you would have people like NJR on Hard Breach. Sometimes Gavin could possibly play more support roles. Flexibility that comes for Canadian will likely benefit DZ. That's why you go for Rice, right? Pambazu down for the count. He had a strong first round, 3 kills to his name. He'll have none now with a minute to go in round number 2. Wildcard's approach from over towards bedroom, but also through attic. Saw that Maverick carving up portions of the attic wall. Surf looking for Canadian down below. There goes NJR. Canadian actually wins the duel. What? And will now take to the stairs over towards Armory. As Gavin gets on the board, Packer rushing in, down goes Gavin. Canadian will rely on Rice to hold the bomb site under control, but an excellent swing by Wildcard as they pinch him. Now it's Canadian atop of White Stairs. Oh, a very familiar place for him. Packer getting the diffuser down, Bolo to cover. Canadian in an impossible spot. He'll hit the barbed wire, make some noise to get out of there. Bolo swings and catches him looking the wrong way, and Wildcard win their attack on dorms.
And this is what Wildcard are so good at, you know, just collapsing out of nowhere. They did indeed go for that kind of split take with attic and master bedroom control, and it looked really good. DC, all the players they had on the bomb side, they had no way to play those actually safe. Sure, you can play inside the Kid Storm bomb side, but you're stuck to like maybe 1 or 2 different corners to play in, and that's really it. And we saw Wharton try to play there to no success because at that point, Wildcard, they're already in the side, attacking from multiple angles at the same time. Canadian, he should shouldn't really have won the gunfight in the basement towards the armory player of Wildcard, but he did. But there's an issue with that. Yeah, you get your kill, but getting back towards the actual bomb set for the retake is such a difficult task. You're forced up a staircase, the attackers know you're gonna be coming from that direction, and you're just completely locked out of the site itself. Pulls downstairs to the C4 can do some mighty fine damage, to deny a plant. But Canadians' roaming style so far, lately in this season, has been just kind of to disrupt the enemy team. It hasn't been about, coming up a staircase and then denying the plant with a C4. It's been about finding drones and trying to get into the battle before they execute. That seems to be DarkZero's way of playing this game right now, where they just want to prevent that final execute to happen in the first place, rather than letting it happen and then dealing with the consequences afterwards. And it makes sense. They can play both styles though. When DC do play those basement bomb sites on Bank, for example, or we saw in the first round of Oregon, they can just turtle up and wait for that 5v5 execute if they need to, but they recognize that not every single bomb site is strong in those scenarios. Oregon, you're gonna expect defense to win the basement bomb site. Then you go upstairs typically, that kid storm site that we just witnessed. Bit of a 50-50, but then you go tertiary bomb site. Either meeting and kitchen, or kitchen and dining. And this is where we tend to see attackers win more often than not. But it all comes down to your plan. How do you want to do it, and how good can you execute it? We see DC always with the cameras, this time Valkyrie and Solis. No IQ from the attack and lineup. The drone work has to be excellent from Wildcard.
It's a great saying from an admittedly not super great person. And it says everybody's got a plan until they get punched or smacked in the mouth, depending on which way you want to use it. I think it honestly applies to the way that some of these teams go about executes. You can have that plan all you want, but if you get punched in the mouth, aka you lose your hard breach early, or you lose your main entry early, or your only set of nades early, that whole plan evaporates in an instant. Half the round to go. So far, nobody from Wildcard in an engagement that could cost them the very precious utility they need to pull off this muting fake. Easy was holding dorms above. They kill up just over half of the round. They get away with their lives still intact. Now, all 5 members of DZ coalescing around the bomb sites on that first floor. Canadian C4 good enough to take out Spirits. Down goes the Buck. There's a sledge there for insurance who can start wrecking from above, and that's exactly what Surf will do.
It's very important. DC with that soft timer. So you know what? 1 minute 25. He'll drop the hash. Not gonna take the fights this time. That's again DC. They can turtle when they have to, but also play proactively when they need to as well. Now it's Wildcard. Yes, they got that backup insurance with the sledge, but it's much slower than that of Buck. And of course, if they had both, it would be even quicker. No easy way in though. DarkZero with 5 guns up. They got most angles covered. Not perhaps a standing door. It could just be a walk into the attack inside.
Adam watching now is, oh my goodness, NJR with 2. Answered back by Bolo. Surf attempting to plant Pambazoo, playing around that pillar. A door frame, down goes Bolo. Now it's Surf in a 1v4 with Diffuser. Not a lot of opportunity. DZ will close on in. No chance for him to win that round. Canadian the final kill, and DZ wins their second.
Solid. Canadian there, shooting the wall and the last player alive as well. The C4 is coming out early for DarkZero too, knowing they don't need them for the plant itself. Just kind of, again, disrupt the attack, get that opening pick, and make Wildcard work for it, really. No safe plant positions inside of the kitchen, and mostly because of the fact that Buck did die early. They didn't clear out all the vertical angles, and JR was allowed to hide inside of server, pushed through that rotate, picked up a double kill, almost a triple, and that was really it. The round ends for Wildcard right there. Yeah, it's Oregon. Wildcard is starting on the attack. They got Bolo as a sub. It's not the perfect picture here, but we've seen Wildcard attack on Oregon before. They're usually very dominant. They take control. They control the pace and how things they go about. But it's been DarkZero mostly in the driver's seat when it comes to those opening engagements. And that's in big part because they're roaming outside the bomb site, going for those cheeky spawn peaks, and just again constantly applying pressure onto Wildcard. Beautiful shotgun kills of NGR, and he dies for it, sure enough, but he stops that initial push. Then Canadian in a very familiar position, always coming up a staircase, or sorry, Pampus this time, coming up a staircase, going for that flank, and Canadian inside the green hall, finding that final kill. And there you have it. It took us 4 rounds to get there, but it's finally happened. The Blitz has been brought up by Spirits. It's going to be accompanied by the Dokkaebi and the Amaru for total destruction here. Gonna see what they can do. Normally when you see a Blitz, you're thinking, immediate blue rush. This run is over in 20 seconds. Not always the case. Sometimes you pick up the Blitz for a late blue rush when you feel like you are ready. You can do it in a minute from now, 2 minutes from now. Just having the Blitz gives you the choice to, when you want to and you are ready, you can hit that blue portion. It's because Blitz doesn't require a setup. You just go whenever you want to.
There's the logic bomb.
Deploying drone.
And the Blitz is so close. Blitz and Amaru. Pain incoming for DarkZero. The Spirits will check his corners. Backed up by Wildcard. At Supernova, again, if you're not using that Supernova, I hate to say this because we talked about Warden for so long saying he's so strong, he's got the 1.5, you should play him more. Nobody listens to us. And then suddenly Warden is in every single game with his 1.5, and I curse it, and I'm like, god damn you, Warden. Now, it's the same with Hibana, same with Echo, same with Amaru. Supernova with the suppressor on it, that thing will kill most people at a very far range. You should use it more often because it is very strong, but also please don't because I don't want to see it in more games.
Please don't. Playing rank and dying to that, it hurts my head. Oh, bit of a guessing game there. Thinking they knew where the Kite Claw was.
Lost 4x Kairos, so no.
Been located.
Yeah. Normally you would expect the Kite Claw to be on the...
Where is it?
Oh, wait, where is it? He's on...
Where is it?
Oh, it is. Oh, it is there.
Oh, cheeky.
I thought the MP would have gotten that, to be honest. I mean, the yellow paint that ish area and they aimed for it, but
it's a very small radius. A lot of people think those pocket EMPs are larger than they actually happen to be. Pambazu spotting the Blitz. Spirits taking some damage. Bolo not too far off of him. There's Pambazu guarding back. Tower. Adam is gone. Spirit still surviving in this position. Pambazu has no choice but to get out of there as the gas and then the sidearm claims Spirits. Gavin the only one to die for DZ. Advantage for DarkZero as the brawling continues. Now it's Surf engaging in Freezer, winning his fight. Diffuser buried at the front of Laundry. And Bolo will assert himself. 3 kills for NJR, 4 kills for NJR. No doubt on his celebratory face cam this time.
He's
3
so
rounds
good.
through 4 rounds for DarkZero, and they're looking mighty good.
this is prime and, you know, peak NJR gameplay right here. He's not sitting back, tossing out toxic base. No, he's getting in the action. He'll swing 1, 2, 3, 4 times, however many it takes until he cleans up the entire goddamn server. And this is the thing. When you give NJR enough space to work with and he's feeling himself, he's gonna go on an absolute heater of a game. And Wildcard gotta shut it down right now if they don't have any chance to pick up some of these attacking rounds. They are struggling on their initial injuries here for Wildcard. That initiation that Merc usually provides, saying 3, 2, 1, time to go, just sprint on in. A little bit more hesitant right now, and this is one of the things that happens when you play with a sub player, when you don't have one of your IGLs in the team. Because sprinting in, yeah, it sounds easy, but seeing those very small opportunities that will go away if you just wait 1 or 2 seconds, it's not easy to do. And having the confidence to do so is even more rare to come by. Merc, he is one of those players. And if he was outside of blue, he wouldn't stand back, you know, tossing a nade, chick in the corner, tossing a nade, chick in the corner. He is flying, full sending, and opening things up. It also seemed a bit scrappy from Wildcard. It was Amaru with a shotgun walking down the big tower staircase to start things off, completely isolated, no backup, no trade, no nada. And it's Pambasu in those positions of pillar, so excellent. We saw him do it with the super shot the first time, the primary the second time. DC, looking good on Oregon so far, despite this being Wildcard's pick.
Yeah, Wildcard must have some familiarity here. I mean, yeah, it is Wildcard's pick. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. They do have a smaller map pool. They are a newer team, so they will know their maps decently well. They should know Oregon quite well. They showed in their match against M80, and now their match that just happened prior against DZ that they are quite familiar with Bank 2.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
But again, I will circle back to the small map pool of Wildcard. When you are a newer team and you don't have a ton of game day reps, your Oregon, the first 2, 3, 4 times you play it, is going to look very different from the 10th, 12th, 15th time you play it. The way that the structure of Stage 2 is set up, it doesn't really allow for teams to play a lot of best of 3s. It's a very short, condensed schedule. should Wildcard make the major, they will be playing, presumably, quite a lot of maps. And with that high amount of maps, they will begin to gain more experience and be able to have a stronger and more robust map pool.
Yeah.
When you go up against a team like DarkZero,
Bomb diffuser has been dropped.
I know I'm going to get killed by the purists for saying this, but DZ don't really struggle on any map clearly like other teams do. You can tell right now. Look at
Attackers
this
have
cam.
recovered their diffuser.
Oh my, that's filthy. Olo doesn't see it. That's a nice Valk cam. Canadian might be able to catch them looking. Adam is ready for it though. Uncharacteristic struggles from Adam, and now Pambazoo will go fishing for a kill. I don't know if Adam is aware of this proximity, so Pambazoo will await the call. No visuals there. That Valcam is paying off huge, and that's only a single gadget.
That's some good value. You got 2 more of those as well. Bolo might die here because, yeah, the wall is opened up.
They look for the refrag onto Pambazoo, but he gets away with a literal single point of HP.
Lucky. It's not what you want to happen. Maverick's not always pretty, right? I mean, yeah, you can go through any wall despite a Kite Claw, Mutium, or Bandit charge, but you gotta paint like Picasso. Open up a circle, a square, make some lines of holes, do something, but they work both ways. And it's tricky when it's just a line of sight and no entry point. And now Adam is alone inside a big tower. That split take we saw last time, much weakened now. Wildcard, very spread across the map. Ambusu, sure he's low on health, but he's still standing upright. Bolo had the only set of grenades as well for the attack inside, so there's no point going downstairs now if you're Wildcard. They gotta funnel through a door, funnel through a breach. It's not gonna be pretty. See Spirit spot on white stairs, 2 people inside of Armory side, and then Adam inside of Armory, or sorry, inside of Attic. That's all they got to work with.
Well, if the guns go quiet from Wildcard, no amount of strategy is going to be successful here. Adam looking for his first pick. Cannot capitalize, though, as Rice is dropped. Canadian on the retake will punish him. Spirit's the only one on the board for Wildcard, and what an utterly dominant round for DarkZero. They made some mistakes on dorms the first time around. They correct them, and it is all DZ all the time at this point. They're up 4-1.
Of course, side swap happens very soon. There's just 1 more round in the first half. But DC, they have a chance here to go up 5-1. Or they'll get that, you know, the 4-2 side, which you tend to see pretty often these days. Defense has been the name of the game for the NAL here in Stage 2. Yeah, there are maps that are attacker-sided and bomb-sides, yada yada, but usually, if you're on defense, you're having a great time. We tend to have in the past, you know, oh, if you play border, it's like 75%, you know, attacker win rate. It's hard to play defense, etc. That's just really shifted. And not for any particular reason. It just kind of happened. Just like we see when people play Bank, like in last game. Tails Archives bomb site played like 3 times. We tend to never see it. And then again, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, for seemingly no reason at all, it gets played a bunch. Canadian, though, now round. Immense value with those Valkyrie cameras. And you gotta ask the question, what about the IQ? What about some of that counter intel? You're up against DarkZero. You know they play the Pulse, the Solace, the Valkyrie as often as you will allow it. And we see when teams play IQ just, you know, here and there against DC, they tend to stay off those kinds of operators like the Valkyrie because it's not worth it. If you pick Valkyrie, they have IQ, it feels like you're kind of countering yourself with that operator pick. And with attackers having the attacker repick option, you can just drone in that drone phase, see if they have that particular operator, then pick the IQ. Easy clap. Adam, it's had a rough game. 0-5, not what we like, not how it normally shows up on the scoreboard, and he's played a couple of different operators now. He started on the second intro, right, as Thatcher, died, played Maverick, struggled as well. Now he's a Nomad. And he's playing these kind of flexible, semi-support-ish operators, but still in a position where he can like go in if he has to. Just hasn't really found success. And I think a big part of it is that Wildcard aren't really helping one another all that much. Again, they like those 2-3 splits where they have 2 people on one side of the map and 3 people on the other. And it's not really always going to bode well because if you're Adam, he's always on the weaker side with only 1 member to help him. That was Bolo last round, and Bolo died first. So Adam was completely alone. Wildcard maybe played a bit slower as they are currently. Play closer together. Yeah, it's Oregon. You're going to be funding through a single doorway maybe, but you're there for the trades if it comes down to it.
That's the final attempt for Wildcard to put some rounds on the board. They'll start off strong with Bolo getting a pick, not before Adam taking all that damage, though. That's Pambazoo, who's not leading the team, but close to NJR's total. Adam has a read here on that drone positioned inside of cafeteria/dining hall. Now Spirits will follow up as well. Why not send 2 players their way? For NJR, you're gonna need a whole platoon. Down goes Bolo to Canadian. Gavin falls to Spirits. It's a 3v3. The Wildcard keeping things close. Now the Ram can go to work as they tear open these sight lines towards the bomb site. This is another meeting execute. The Wildcard, they had some struggles here in the past. Genius way to open up the floors. We don't see a lot of Ram on this map, and NJR will thank his lucky stars as he sees it go by. Surf will now assess NJR is dead. That's a lead for Wildcard, and honestly, the raid boss down at this point.
Yeah, huge kill. And Ja, he was in that prime position of a server like last time. The only position to stop a passable plant here. Canadian could look to retake from the freezer staircase, but all this vert destruction from above. Wildcard, if they cover the right angles, they can definitely plant here.
Attackers have located a bomb.
They just need to wait for it, get the call, Packer to drop. Nobody seems to see him, but he's nearsighted. Nobody can stop him. Canadian will look as there goes the air jab. He's a bit too slow, but Rice gets 2 surf drops. Tiny amount of time left, and the clock will hit 0, allowing Canadian to swoop in. But wait, no, he stopped. Can he get there in time? He can, but Surf wins at the air jab. Claims the round for Wildcard.
He gets drop shot, hip fired. Oh no. It was so free. It was so easy. All you gotta do is just run into a door and shoot the guy who's planning with 0 seconds left, right? No, there are air jabs in play. Adam might not have the most value on the scoreboard right now, but he arguably single-handedly just clutched around for his team from the grave with those air jabs posted up. It also stopped Canadian from flanking earlier, which would have gotten the kill in the first place. I mean, this is the thing. DC on bank, they're in a similar spot, although that was usually NTR, where they shoulda, coulda, woulda done, clutched around, but they didn't. They still get that 4-2 for DC. They're not gonna be too unhappy with this, and because of how bank, it played out, mentally, they're already strong, right? They've been through the gutter, they've lost those rounds before, it's not a big deal. But right here, if Canadian gets in just a second earlier, Rise will have more HP, Canadian's close to that bomb site, and then, oh, here comes. He sees the air jab, I see it, it's right above the doorway. If you're Canadian, you can't blame him for just running in and just, trying to take that in. He laughs about it too, right? What can you do? This is Troy. He's lost so many grand finals. Dying to an air jab like that literally does not matter for his mental. He's been in this game for so long. Arguably the most experienced player in the game. If you look at how many teams he's played for, led into victory, and how big of an impact that he has when he joins a team. He's never been on a team that was not successful. Or it's a good old CTM, EG, SSG, DarkZero. They've always won something big with him in the roster. When he leaves a team, well, they tend to take a while to bounce back. He's a hard man to replace, what can I say? We'll have a short tech pause, and then we'll be on the way with our second half with that side swap coming up.
We had a brief tech pause back in the very first map, if you recall.
Yep.
It happens.
It was quick.
I do like Pambazoo's hair, though. I think it's very stylish.
Yeah, just if you
tell me you weren't the culprit for that one.
So actually, the tech issue was a player just went to the bathroom and he thought, the round would take longer. It's like, please let that not be true. I mean, you can technically take your tactical timeout. It buys you 60 seconds. If you're quick about it, you can totally make that work. It's happened before.
Well, hey, man, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
And that's the thing, right? At home like this, when you play remote, you can. But on LAN, no. Like, admins, at least back in my day, did not care, right? You would have a player walk on stage right before the game starts, during a map, and they're like, oh, I gotta go. Can we, pause? Like, no. It's like, what do you mean? Like, what if I really gotta go? They're like, no. I've never experienced from my side, you know, a player being like, I need to go now.
Attackers
But
have
I've
located
definitely
the bomb.
have, you know, Goga, Fabi, and myself being like, we need to win this before overtime. And I don't care if we lose. Like, whoever gets, you know, 6 rounds first, we'll let them have it. Because we gotta go to the bathroom. That's definitely happened before in best of 3s and whatnot. Wildcard don't. They get that favorable side of defense now in round number
10
7.
seconds remaining.
They play some more shotties here. Thorn gonna be brought into action. Not with the 1.5, but with a primary shotgun in her hands instead. Razor Blooms, deployable shield, great value on the basement defense. Same story for Goyo. Those Vulcan cannons are stalling for so much time. DarkZero, they've been playing Monty a fair bit. We've been kind of critical towards Canadian, saying, what are you doing sometimes? You know, always dying early, not finding the most value. And while we can look at Canadians' role in Monty as an individual point and say, okay, it doesn't look the greatest. If you break down the amount of rounds they've won versus lost with the Monty in play, it's actually not that bad. I would still say it's 60-40, like 60 lost, 41. So it's not amazing, but it's not, you know, all bad, so to speak.
Well, that's the first half going for the defenders on Oregon. Relatively standard stuff. Gavin now with 45 seconds off of the clock and a logic bomb already going out is within striking distance. He's just standing there menacingly. The bottom of main stairs looking at laundry, and nobody's going to give him anything. EZ have cleared out most of this main floor. Bolo was still roaming above over towards attic. He's potentially, though, well, actually from silhouettes, it looks like he's on the back of stage over by small tower. 2 players for Wildcard by small tower isn't that strange. Bolo will get the drone and then have to fall off of his position. As flashbangs go out, he reassert himself.
Oh,
Tearing through that ammunition, and his impact hits Surf on the back, and a smile will stretch across Bolo's face.
Hot breach.
Oopsie daisy. I mean, they get that is scored through though, right? Like the job there for Bolo is to get Surf back to the bomb site as the Warden's very vital to this execute. The flashbangs, the smoke, etc., whatever's available. And yeah, he loses some damage as does Bolo, but they succeed. Surf is still technically alive, just, you know, less than half HP. Canadian on the Monty brought that second half gadget as an NGR on the Grim, so they can bring out, you know, more flexible operators because they don't need a, you know, primary heart breacher. And it will be Canadian on the Monty leading the charge. Gets shot in the heel. Loses a fair bit of damage. Vulcan cast the pop. Gonna buy 20 seconds of spirits. He's gonna stall so much time in this position. No.
There's no way. He hits that with the CZ75.
No. Troy could never.
Pulls out the M870. Goodbye to Gavin. First one on the board. Wild card. This one's going to go bad in a real hurry for one of these teams as there's still 9 people alive. Make that 8. Pambazoo punishing Surf by Blue. Now the flash over towards Pillar. We've got the attention of Bolo as Canadian walks in. Bees aplenty as NJR tries to keep them at bay, and so far it seems like it's working. Wildcard have now retreated over towards Library side, and Rice thought he had something going, but he was just a bit too slow to the punch. 3 players remain for DarkZero. Same numbers for Wildcard. But Canadian not going to be able to plant. Where is the clock management for DarkZero? They just flat out run out of time.
They simply forgot to buy the DLC that gives you 10 extra seconds because they looked like they had that all under control, right? Walk down the hallway, step into the crossfires, put out a flank drone. Oh, there's no time left. What went wrong? Time management being a massive issue there. And, you know, we have to kind of be, okay, whose fault is that? And we gotta look at Troy, we gotta look at the Monty because they're the person leading the charge into these areas of the map. And it looked great to start things off. Not the death here from Gavin, but Troy was actually dropping down the E-box hatch, starting things off, playing around Pamper's inside a pillar, and they got those 2 picks. They got in towards the bomb site, technically speaking, but like Packer said there, what's going on? Timer hit 0 with 3 players alive and Monty upright with diffuser in hand. It really shouldn't be happening. We can even say, okay, Canadian could have unextended the shield, sprinting to the bomb site, buying some more seconds, but no. They were in no hurry whatsoever, and I don't think they fully grasped just how low that timer was running. Wildcard, they barely get that round, but they get it. Basement bomb site is where they're supposed to win.
5 seconds remaining.
Upstairs will be the real challenge. DarkZero going through their attack and repick phase right now, and it's going to be Ryze in the Amaru and Canadian on the Brava of all operators. Amaru can be one of those quickly in, also quick to die. Very 50-50 operator. Either you're going to get a kill, tremendous value, or just flat out leave your team in a 4 versus 5 very quickly. And of course, with Amaru, you can go to window, go up a hatch, go for map control like a big tower take, for example, for the roam clear. Right now, it's Canadian time. With that Brava value, hacking an ADS, Lucy Banshee inside of master bedroom, and actually keeping that Brava drone alive as well for further intel. Also got that spare and third charge in pocket still.
The ultimate flex player for Canadian. Play whatever he wants. DMR season very much upon us. Shotgun's getting a buff, but DMRs have become very much in style. 417 being rocked by Twitch and Lion more than their rifles, and now you see the same with Canadian, foregoing the para instead with the cammers, wherever you want to pronounce it. It's a nade used to blow up the shield, activates an ADS. Additionally, those observation blockers are not brought all that commonly, but I always like highlighting them when they do show up. It is the go-to secondary device for Jaeger as of late, so if you see a Jaeger on the board, there's a good assessment he's going to have one of those tools at his disposal. It's not the Jaeger that we were speaking of. Spirits and Attic is in a really troubling spot. Yamaru for DZ, slingshots up to top of the tower. Rice almost getting the kill, but Spirits manages to survive. Malusi has a 3 armor, the only reason why he survived, by the way. And the disappearing act from Spirits as he hits the deck. And now is on the main floor, reunited with Bolo. DZ will now once again have to clear out this part of the map.
There was slow communication around there for DC, and we see the silhouette there. Hiding inside of Attic is Surf, so close to danger. Still alive. Could swing out at any moment. Oh, but Surf hitting his shots right now. He finds 2, he finds 3! What is this?
No way! The waves are too much for DZ to deal with. No, Bolo and Spirits will die. The advantage still given to Wildcard because of Surf's play. They are sitting on quite an investment. 35 seconds left. Easy, seemingly perpetually worried about time management. No, there's a frostbite underneath you. You gotta be careful. Surf might let his gadgets do the talking. He's on an ace watch. Smoke goes out towards White Stairs. Canadian attempting to narrow down these opportunities for Wildcard to swing. Down goes Pambazoo to Packer, and he will get 2 for his trouble. 3 rounds in a row for Wildcard, and it's a tie game.
What a play from Surf. I mean, that completely tilted the round back into like a neutral position where it was anyone's game. Where DC, right before that play happened, looked like they're about to collapse in the bomb side, do that same split tip that Wildcard did. 2 players in Attic, 3 people master bedroom side, collapse together. You know, they have the numbers advantage. It should be a done deal for the attack, but no. Surf just, he swings on in. Clears the Attic and goes, okay, that's gonna be clear now. Seize my moment here. And the 3rd kill right here, that's the very unfortunate one. NGR was standing ready, holding the angle, and just whiffed by a pixel next to the shoulder of Surf. Phenomenal 3K, all headshots of course as well. It's tied things up 4-4 in round score. And it just seemed like Wildcard, yeah, they struggled a bit on the attack inside. To be expected of course with a substitute player as well. But the defense looking a lot better, more stable from them so far. Of course, a bomb site rotation. There's basement, kid storms. Now this meeting bomb site seeing play for the 3rd time. We're not really seeing the kitchen dining bomb site that much right now. Typically when Hibana is not banned, that seems to be the case. When Hibana is banned, we see teams sometimes try and do that old impact trick on the bathroom wall towards the small tower, and that's how you can kind of enable that bomb site to be played. Hibana also been in action this round. It's NGR this time on the operator. He's 9-4. NGR had a killer defensive half. We're not finding much action here on the attack inside. That's the downside if you're like usually playing a support operator. Is on defense, you're forced into action usually every single round. But on attack, if the injuries die, you're playing 3v5. But if your injuries succeed, then you're playing 5 vs 3. The supportive cast on attack, they don't always get to be a part of the action in terms of gunplay. So NGR's kill count should, you know, kind of stabilize here and slow down a bit.
Gemini activated.
So you reset. Laundry and dorms go your way.
Lost Gemini signal.
Roll with the only bomb site that a lot of teams like to play at this point. I think we're gonna see a dining hall defense. Nope.
Nope. Not necessarily. I mean, this depends how desperate are you. Can you succeed here, then it's all you really need. DC's time management was a problem for them in the basement attack, and right now, oh, it's not a great start either. A bit slow, and you lose the opening duel.
These frosts are, whether in the hands of Surf or in the hands of Spirits, they're tough for DarkZero to deal with. Losing Pambazoo early, never good. Gavin had a good game on the previous map. Now it's NJR stepping up on Oregon. Again, DZ taking a long period of time to get themselves into position. As Canadian hits barbed wire, Bolo has fallen somewhere on the map. That's the smoke down. Bolo having serious struggles, but again, he's not a player on this team. Canadian plays a little bit of Jack in the Box with Surf. Destroys the hatch, and then gets the Fenrir as he falls as well. Final 40 seconds for DZ to pull off and execute.
Gotta go soon. I think there is still roamers downstairs in the basement. They would be wrong. There's not. It's 2 players upstairs and Packer inside a meeting room itself. Bomb side relatively clear. The issue is those angles up above. Canadian does have 2 smokers and Pug, toss them out, and creates sort of path in towards the side, maybe get a plant down.
There's a rush in now. Canadian finds an opening amidst the smoke. He cannot get swung by Wildcard. Neither player in position to deal with this. Instead, you've got Spirits looking to close out from above, trying to hold. Wait a minute, Wildcard has suddenly reduced DZ to just Rice. The diffuser does not go down. What a scramble! 4 in a row by Wildcard. They take the lead.
Oh boy. Packer says, I am him. I mean, this is it. I mean, they're finding these very tiny gaps, and DarkZero's issue right now is that they're over-rotating. They had people in the right positions there, but then they do that second rotation. Okay, let's send a second guy up top floor. Oh, Canadian starts planting. Oh, let's plant somewhere else. They had it in a pretty good position, then just wanted to change it out of nowhere. And again, there isn't enough time. They have to sprint into these positions, sprint into these gunfights, and they can't even shoot back. DC called a tactical timeout to reel things back in. It worked out for them last time. Just compose themselves, talk about the issues right now. And they have to do this. Because ever since the side swap, they've been so close all 3 rounds in a row. The first basement, time was an issue. They lost the round. Second time, Surf with that hero play, their huge 3K. And this third round again, look, sprinting with 7 seconds left, and JR going to server. They should have these things covered. Canadian came from that exact position. It was clear earlier. Then they go there when there's no one covering it, so now it's no longer clear anymore. Small things, massive impact. And Pag are taking us for a spin.
Well, they have completely flipped this on its head. It is a defender-sided map by most counts. It's shaping up to be that same way here. DZ have not been able to throw a single attacking round on the board through their 3 attempts. It's a perfect site rotation for Wildcard. The 3 bomb sites that were played during DZ's tenure on defense, the exact same for Wildcard. Laundry, dorms, and meeting.
10 seconds remaining.
All showing up.
Bomb located by attackers.
As you said, you think it's unlikely that we will see
5 seconds
that
to
dining/mess hall component into kitchen. I agree with you.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
Good that I agree with you. Glad that we can arrive at the same page here.
No, it's, you know, I think being on the same page about bomb side priorities, it's important because it's kind of like it's an art form, you know? There are very clear reasons why teams go and do not go to certain bomb sites. For the most part, you know, there are the outliers, of course. And I think in this case, going down in kitchen doesn't make all that much sense. I think the big question is Wildcard, will they just keep, you know, playing the rounds the same way and hoping they can keep clutching out? Or will they make a more decisive play saying, you know what? We recognize that DC, they played slow. They played a little bit sloppy. And we kind of got those rounds with a little bit of luck, if you want to say it that way. You know, they found the gaps. They played well. I don't want to discredit Wildcard, but there is going to be a time where that luck kind of runs out. Just like we saw in the first round of Bank. Comes down to a 7-7. All of a sudden in JR, he just drops a 4K, 3K, I don't know, out of nowhere. So it's still up to Wildcard to stay in this. They can't just sit back, relax, and be like, okay, DC, they're going to struggle with time. They're going to be slow, right? They always are. No. So I like the fact that they're still playing this utility game, right? They keep playing out the portable shields, the Razor Booms from Thorn, playing Bolo on the go downstairs, just buy those 20 seconds with the Vulcan canisters and further slow down DarkZero's advance. And, I mean, we're looking at the silhouettes from DarkZero right now. They're all kind of sitting still. They're drone. Look at this. Standing still, droning, Canadians rotating. They're still figuring out what do they want to do and where do they want to go. That's the awkward part about this attack on basement and Oregon is that you can only really go for a front side or a back side execute. It's really that simple. Freeze or launch your stairs or big tower blue. Or you can just hit the deck on every single hatch drop and just go everywhere, but that's really risky, right? You have no backup. So you gotta figure out where is the defense looking the weakest and where can we actually try and get into the bomb side. Well, Spirits, he stops the freezer staircase just like last time. He's got a Might Disc, he's got a Vulcan canister for a stall, and he's got a shotgun. That's not gonna work out. Okay, let's try and drop the meeting hatch. Well, that's a double crossfire. It's hard, but Panda just drops into pillar. Hello? They weren't ready for that.
But he's traded back. I think it's more important that Pamba gets rid of Surf from that position, and I will take that if I'm DarkZero, especially when you look at the clock. 35 seconds remaining. But again, this listlessness from DZ right at the forefront. They are just so slow, so many rounds. Canadian will shepherd the diffuser into the bomb site at some point. Spirits goes for a reload. It's ill-timed.
15 seconds.
Fire continuing to rage, denying NJR access to blue. Bolo, the only chance to keep his team in it. Not even his team, to keep Wildcard in it. He finds a couple picks, but DZ wins their 5th round. And we will need all 12 rounds again to settle this map.
And again, it comes down to those details. Spirits inside a freezer staircase. He looked the wrong way at the wrong time. Therefore, he died to a hatch drop from the Lion. And right there, that opens up things for DarkZero. Yeah, I agree with you. Pamba dropping down and getting Surf off the Warden. Massive play. There's no follow-up, so DarkZero could have arguably acted early in the round if they had followed Pampa's Zoo. But that's the thing. When you see those small openings, you got a split second to make the decision to go for it or not. Odds are, if Pamba didn't go exactly when he did, that play disappears and it's not possible. Look at this, the timing that I mentioned. Spirits looks to his left, starts a reload the same second Rise drops. If Rise drops into Spirits who's with a shotgun primed and ready, he doesn't get that kill. And DarkZero, they actually lose basically the half of their entire push from that front side. So a very important moment in that round came down to the Spirits making the wrong decision. Same with the DarkZero has lost a couple of rounds too with their clock management and those small decisions too. It's gonna be a back and forth, I bet you. Tied up 5-5 once again.
Attackers are
What
moving out to
DarkZero
locate
did
a
in that
bomb
previous round, I mean, it worked really well. Surprisingly well, I want to say. They hit their shots, they got in together, and more importantly, Wildcard, they seemed like they were just completely caught off guard, which is crazy because there was only like 15 seconds left in the round. If they were going to be initiating that execute, it probably would be at that point in the time. Or maybe Wildcard, they've gotten so used to DarkZero's pace that 15 seconds is a quick one for their standards. I'm not sure. They have been slow, you know?
Yeah, like molasses. I mean, that's the calling card of DarkZero. They're slow, but they are usually methodical. I think there are some times where we can agree that they were, and then other times it's not always as rosy. Go back to that very first attack, and they just ran out of time. Canadian wasn't even in the sight, holding on to the diffuser as Monty. A rare positive game for Canadian. His role doesn't usually necessitate a lot of kills. One thing that does need highlighting, Adam has now gone 10 rounds without a single kill. 21 kills, was it, on border yesterday? 0 kills for Adam so far. Spirits and Surf have picked up so much slack over these last 2 maps. Left behind by Merc, obviously, as he's not available to play today. Bolo's been fine. I honestly think Bolo has been better than what my expectations were, but my expectations were in the ground because, again, he's been retired
located
for
by
almost a
attackers.
year and doesn't play on this team.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I know people go, oh, it's Bolo, but yeah, but this is Bolo literally subbing in. He has no idea what the callouts are, what the strats are. He probably doesn't even know half of these players that well himself, you know? He's been out of the game for a bit. But he's here and he's doing it. But Adam right now, yeah, C8, not a great look. Wildcard, they're doing the same exact setup. Nothing's really changed. They deemed that small things didn't go their way. Well, I agree with them. If Adam finds a kill, Pambasu, he can't keep doing this. Third round, all 3 basement attacks. He swings down that staircase and he kills Surf in the same position. This should not be happening. Maybe once, but never twice. Certainly not 3 for 3.
Look at Adam staring down that Monty. One thing we noted with the way the Canadian plays Monty is he usually doesn't have an escort. This time he does with Gavin inside a freezer. That's where the attention of Adam lay. Flashbangs that go out, NJR punished over by pillars. Spirits are there. Adam finally gets on the board. They'll need more from him now. Gavin drops. It's Canadian in a 1v3, pistol out. And he's punished by Adam, who gets 3 kills in the round. Adam goes big. Wildcard move to match point.
And Canadian might have had an escort inside a freezer, but again, nothing really comes out of it. Muncie's the last player alive. He doesn't get the intel for his team, and NTR got team flashed, unfortunately. The second Thorn swung in that hallway, NTR got blinded by someone else and couldn't see a damn thing, and he lost out in that engagement. Pamasu, he's been putting in so much work in these basement attacks. Again, finding that opening, pick on pillar 3 times in a row. Sure, one of those 3 rounds, he died for it, trading 1 for 1. But I don't know of many players who can just always pick the right time to walk down the tower staircase with a triple crossfire against you, get a kill, and get away afterwards as well. It really shouldn't be happening, and even though it did, DarkZero still do not actually get the round. They only got, what, 1 more kill following up from that? So from a 5 versus 4 down to a 0 versus 3. That's not a great look. But it is that basement bomb site. It can be so hard to break on the attack inside. So many things working against you. But it has put Wildcard on match point.
10 seconds to go.
They're gonna feel really good about this. They go to Kid Storms instead.
5 seconds
They only
to
tend
go.
to bring out the Goyo of the basement bomb site because that's where the time is most an issue, and of course it's more,
Attackers are moving
I want
out
to say
to locate a
narrow
bomb
bomb
and
site, you know, very obvious ways in. Kid Storm doesn't work all that much differently. You got the trophy door, the white staircase, the armory staircase, the big window jump in. Goyo could also be excellent here, but then you want the Frost, then you want the Melusi. So all of a sudden when you're defending this bomb site, you're gonna want like 7 or 8 different defenders, but you only get to pick up 5. So pick your sacrifices, make your choices. Wildcard, they deem that these gadgets right here is what they need. Entry denial, little bit of plant denial, and a single deployable shield. DarkZero, they do go for 4 nades, rather 2 sets. Might be looking to go downstairs to try and do some up nades, as we call them.
Depth charges was what Lycan referred to them as, even though depth charge is a mine that floats that a submarine or submersible will hit and then blow up. Right? It floats to the surface. Depth charge from below. It comes up, so it's a little bit of the opposite. And I remember somebody was like, that's not what a depth charge is. Yeah, well, you literally refer to a pistol kill as a pistol whip, so that's not correct either. Oh my God, Surf has drones fly.
Oh man.
Oh, they are antagonizing him by that trophy doorway. He's fallen off the position. Dorms, the site of what could be our very final round. Wildcard prevails here. We go to Cafe. But there's still time for us to see overtime. I want overtime. I don't really care which team wins here, and Canadian obviously does as well. There's the DMR. Removing Packer, and more importantly, the 3 gas canisters that come with him.
Huge kill. I mean, I get the biggest one here. Packer, sure, a great player, but yeah, as you said, the gadget. You just bought yourself 30 seconds, and you can't get locked out of bomb site now on that execute when it's time. A minute to go still. DC actually relatively quick pace for their standard right now in a good position. Attic wall is opened up, and they have nobody on the big tower side, so Melusi of Spirits has this kind of cross. And if he can hold this, he can actually stop the entire advancement from DarkZero single-handedly. Last time it was Surf, Maybe this time will be spirits.
Rice creeping up white stairs. Down goes Gavin. Nice shot by Rice onto Surf. He's wary about what might come behind him. And there's Adam. 4 kills, all coming within the last round and a half. Olo over towards the wall. He gets one, but not before the diffuser goes down. Now it's Panbazoo to clutch. Adam is going huge. He will need to win this duel to keep his team in it and win it. He hops on the diffuser. DarkZero pushing up. Panbazoo looking to prolong this. He duels, and Adam wins it again, just as he did on Bank. 6 kills over 2 rounds. When you need him the most, he shows up.
Secret weapon. That's it. Just to save him. He goes 0-8. He's out of it. No. As you said, 6 kills in 2 rounds, and a clutch to seal it for them. We need all 3 maps of this series.